It is the middle of the night again, and you are awake because someone needs you. Maybe a sound from the next room pulled you out of a sleep you could barely afford to lose. Maybe it is the third time tonight, or the fourth, and you have stopped counting. You move through the dark house on automatic now, your body knowing the way, and you do the thing that has to be done, the medicine, the changing, the turning, the gentle word to someone who may not even know it is the middle of the night. And then you stand there for a moment, in the quiet, more tired than you have words for, while the whole rest of the world sleeps on, with no idea that you are up, again, holding a life together with your own two exhausted hands. If that is your life right now, if you are the one who takes care of someone who cannot take care of themselves, a parent slipping away, a spouse who is not who they used to be, a child who will always need more than other children, a body that needs lifting and feeding and tending around the clock. And if you have reached the place where you are running on nothing, where the tank ran dry a long time ago and you are somehow still going, then this hour is for you. Not to add one more thing to your endless list, just to sit with you for a while in a labor that almost no one sees, and to tell you what God says to the ones who pour themselves out caring for someone else until there is almost nothing left of them. Because He has a great deal to say to you, and almost none of it is what the tired voice in your head has been telling you. There is a voice that talks to caregivers in the small hours, and it is not a kind one. It tells you that you are failing, that you are not doing enough, that whatever you manage is never quite enough, that your tiredness is weakness, and your resentment is sin, and your longing for your own life back is selfishness. It never once tells you that you are doing something beautiful. It never once tells you to rest. That voice has been your companion in the dark for a long time, and you have half come to believe it is telling you the truth, or even that it is the voice of God. It is not. The God who made you and sees you speaks in an entirely different tone. And over the next while, I want to let you hear it, because it is gentle where that voice is harsh, and it is for you, fully, where that voice is only ever against you. Let me begin by simply naming what this has been like, because the exhaustion of a caregiver is a specific and crushing kind, and most people walking through it have no one who truly understands. It is a tiredness that sleep does not fix. You are not just tired the way a person is tired after a long day. You are tired in your bones, in your marrow, a deep depletion that a single good night could never touch, even if you could get a single good night. Which you cannot, because the nights are broken too. You have forgotten what it feels like to wake up rested. You have forgotten what it feels like to not be tired. The exhaustion has become the weather of your life, the air you breathe. So constant, you have almost stopped noticing it. The way you stop noticing a sound that never stops, and that is taking a toll on your own body that you keep ignoring because there is no time to tend to it. The aches you have stopped mentioning, the doctor's appointment you keep canceling because you cannot leave, the way you eat standing up, or barely eat, or eat all the wrong things because they are quick. The stress sitting in your shoulders and your chest and your sleep, or your lack of it. Caregivers so often pour out their own health to preserve someone else's, and run themselves into the ground tending a body while neglecting their own, until they end up sick themselves, and then there is no one to do the caring at all. Your body is not an inconvenience standing between you and the work. It is part of the work. It is the very instrument the care is given through, and it has to be tended to. Not last, not never, but actually tended, or it will fail you and them both. You are not being a good caregiver by running your own health into the ground, You are borrowing against a future you both need. It is the invisibility of it. This is some of the heaviest part, and the hardest to say out loud. You do the work in the dark, in the private rooms of a private house, where no one claps, where no one even knows. There is no audience for the night waking, no recognition for the 100th gentle answer to the same anxious question. No applause when you clean what has to be cleaned, and lift what has to be lifted, and swallow what has to be swallowed. The world goes by outside, busy and bright, full of people whose lives are their own, and you stand inside the quiet of this, doing the most important and least noticed work there is, and a part of you wonders whether anyone will ever know what these years cost you. It is the relentlessness. There is no clocking out. There is no weekend, no vacation, no end of the shift, because the shift never ends. The tasks reset the moment you finish them. You feed, and it is time to feed again. You clean, and it must be cleaned again. You answer the question, and the question comes again, as if you had never answered. It is like bailing a boat that never stops taking on water, and the bone-deep weariness of it is not just the work itself, but the no end in sight of it. The knowing that tomorrow will be exactly this, and the day after, with no horizon you can point to and say, there. It gets easier there. Most hard things in life come with an end you can see and aim for. The exam will be over in an hour. The deadline will pass. The illness will run its course. You can grit your teeth through almost anything if you can see the far edge of it. But caregiving often takes that mercy away. The end, when it comes only one way. And it is a way you cannot wish for without a flood of guilt. And so you are left in a strange country with no visible border, told to keep walking with no idea how far. Forbidden even to want the journey to end. That is a particular torture, the open-endedness of it. And if part of your exhaustion is simply not being able to see how or when this stops, that is not weakness of spirit. It is the genuine, crushing weight of a road without a marked end. You were not built to march forever toward a horizon you cannot see. And the only one who can carry you through an open-ended thing is the one whose strength is also without end. Which is exactly why so much of this comes back to leaning on him. Because he is the only resource you have that will not run out before the road does. It is the loneliness. The friends who used to call have mostly stopped because you can never come. Because you are always needed here, and after enough, no, I can't, the invitations dry up. The life you used to have, the people, the going places, the being part of things, has shrunk down to these rooms and this person and this endless task. And you are lonely in a way that is hard to describe. Lonely while never once being alone. Isolated inside a love that has no off switch. You watch other people live what looks like a normal life, and you cannot remember the last time yours was your own. And the loneliness is deepened by how few people truly understand. They mean well, the ones who ask how your mother is doing, who say they do not know how you do it, who tell you that you are a saint. But most of them go home to their own lives, and the words, however kind, do not touch the actual isolation of it. Unless someone has done this, has lived inside the relentless, unwitnessed grind of it, they cannot quite grasp what it takes. And so you learn to give the short answer. Fine. We are managing. Because the true answer is too long and too heavy, and you can see their eyes already drifting. There is a special loneliness in being surrounded by people who care about you in theory, but cannot enter the reality of your days. If that is you, hear this. There is one who does enter it, fully, who is not drifting, who is not waiting for the short answer, who knows the exact texture of every hour you have spent, and who is closer to you in the loneliness than the people who love you but cannot reach you in it. You are seen all the way to the bottom by the only one who can see that far. And for so many of you, there is a grief running underneath all of it that has no name and no funeral. Because the person you are losing is not yet gone. You are watching someone you love disappear by inches right in front of you, while they are still here. The parent who knew everything, now confused by a spoon. The husband or wife who was your partner, your person, now looking at you sometimes like a stranger. You are grieving someone who is still in the room, mourning a person who has not died. And there is no card for that, no casserole. No one who quite understands that you can lose someone slowly, day after day, and have to keep caring for the body of the one whose self is slipping away. That is one of the loneliest griefs a human being can carry. And you are carrying it while also doing everything else. And if the one you care for is losing their mind to dementia, there is a particular cruelty layered into it that few people understand. You answer the same question, the one about what day it is, or where their mother is, or when they are going home, for the 10th time in an hour. And you have to answer it gently each time, as if it were new, because to them it is new. While inside you something frays a little more with every repetition. You are called by the wrong name, or by no name, by the person who once knew you better than anyone alive. You catch a flash of the old them, a familiar laugh, a turn of phrase from years ago, and your heart leaps. And then it is gone again behind the fog, and you grieve the loss all over, 20 times a day. You are caring, with enormous tenderness, for someone who cannot thank you, cannot remember the care 5 minutes later, and sometimes does not know who you are at all. To keep loving like that, into a face that no longer recognizes you, is one of the purest and most painful forms of love there is, and almost no one sees how much it takes. And then there are the thoughts, the ones you would never say to anyone, the flashes of resentment toward the very person you love for needing so much, for taking so much, for the life you do not have because of them. Even though you know it is not their fault, even though you would never choose to stop. And worse, sometimes, the thought that flickers through in the darkest hour, the wish that it were over, that this would end. And then the wave of horror and guilt that comes right behind it. The "what kind of person am I?" Hear me on this, because you need to hear it from someone. Those thoughts do not make you a monster. They make you a human being who is utterly depleted. Every honest caregiver has had them. They are the sound of a person stretched past their limit, not the sign of a bad heart. The very fact that they horrify you is the proof of how much you love. It is the guilt, always the guilt, layered on everything. That you are not patient enough, that you snapped again, that you are not doing it well enough, that you resent it, that you needed a break, that some small selfish part of you wanted your own life back. You hold yourself to a standard no human could meet, and then you flog yourself for falling short of it. And the guilt becomes one more weight on a back that is already breaking. And notice the cruel math of caregiver guilt. There is no amount of doing that ever satisfies it. On the days you give everything, you feel guilty it was not done more cheerfully. On the days you rest, you feel guilty you rested. When you are with the one you care for, you feel guilty about everything else you are neglecting. When you step away to handle that everything else, you feel guilty for leaving them. The guilt is not actually a measure of your failing. It is a tax it levies no matter what you do. An accusation that shifts its ground so that you can never, ever pay it off. A debt designed so it can never be settled is not a real debt. It is a trap. And you can stop trying to pay it. The voice that says you are never enough is not telling you the truth about your performance. It is just doing the one thing it does, which is accuse. You will not silence it by doing more. You silence it by hearing, over the top of it, the verdict of the only judge who matters, who looks at your worn-out, imperfect, faithful love and does not say, "Not enough." He says, "Well done." And underneath it, quietly, you have lost yourself. You cannot remember who you are anymore apart from this role. Your own dreams are on a shelf. Your own health neglected. Your own needs always last, always later, always after everyone else's, and later never comes. You have poured yourself out so completely into keeping someone else alive that you are not sure there is a you left at all. And you grieve that, too. The person you used to be. The life you set down to do this. The self that disappeared into the caregiving so gradually you cannot say when it went. And there is the strange ache of the reversal, when the one you care for is the very one who once cared for you. The parent who fed you as a baby, whom you now feed. The father who once carried you on his shoulders, whom you now lift from a chair. The mother who bathed you, whose body you now have to tend with a washcloth. Both of you looking away from the indignity of it. Both of you knowing this is not how it was supposed to be. There is a holiness in it and a heartbreak in it at the same time. The completing of a circle no one wanted to complete. The child becoming the parent of the parent. Or it is your husband, your wife, the partner you were supposed to grow old beside as an equal, who has become someone you must dress and feed and watch every minute, so that the marriage you knew has quietly turned into something that looks more like nursing than partnership. And you miss them, even as you care for them. You miss being held, instead of always holding. And for some of you, it is not a parent fading or a spouse declining, but a child who came into the world needing more than other children, and who always will. Yours is a different shape of the same exhaustion, the one that does not even have the cruel comfort of an ending, because your child may outlive your own ability to care for them. And so, on top of everything, you carry a fear about what happens to them when you are gone. Who will love them and tend them the way you do when you no longer can. You watch other families pass the milestones yours will never reach. The independence, the leaving home, the easing of the load that comes for other parents and may never come for you. You love fiercely a child the world too often overlooks, and you fight battles for them that no one sees. And you are tired in a way the parents around you cannot imagine. If that is your story, hear that God has a particular tenderness for exactly this. For the ones who pour out their lives for a child who cannot give back in the ordinary ways. Because that is the closest thing on earth to how He loves all of us. And your weary, ferocious, faithful love is precious to Him beyond anything you know. For some of you, there is a financial weight pressing on top of all of it. The cost of the care, the income you gave up, the work you left or cut back, the slow draining of whatever savings there were. so that you carry the fear about money on top of the labor and the grief. And there is no room in the budget, and no room in the day, and no room in you. And there is a question you ask God, in the rare quiet, if you still have the energy to ask anything. Do you see this? Do you see what I am doing? What it is costing me? How alone I am in it? Why won't you heal them? How long is this supposed to go on? Where are you in this endless, invisible, exhausting thing? And maybe there is anger in the question, not just sorrow, and you have been afraid to admit it. Anger that this fell to you and not to your siblings, who visit when it is convenient and praise you for doing so well, while you do all the actual work. Anger at the unfairness of a life rearranged around someone else's needs, with no end and no choice. Anger, even at God, for letting the disease come, for not healing, for asking this of you, for staying silent while you pour yourself out. If that anger is in you, you do not have to hide it from God. He is not fragile. The scriptures are full of people who brought him their anger and their why and their how long, and he did not strike them down for it. He drew nearer. Bring him yours. An honest, angry prayer is far closer to faith than a polite silence that has given up on him hearing. He would rather have your furious honesty than your distant resignation. Tell him exactly how it feels. He can take it, and he will still be there when the storm of it passes. So let me answer that question first, before anything else, because everything else stands on the answer. You are not invisible to God. The work you do in the dark, that no one sees and no one praises, He sees every second of. There is a verse that I want you to carry like a stone in your pocket, to take out and hold whenever the invisibility threatens to crush you. It says that God is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love. He is not unrighteous to forget. Think about what that means. It means that forgetting your labor would be a kind of injustice, and God will not commit it. Every broken night, every cleaned-up mess, every patient answer to the same question for the 1,000th time, every small, invisible act of love is recorded, treasured, remembered, in the only books that finally matter. You think no one sees? Someone sees. The one whose seeing counts most of all has not missed a single moment of it. And he calls it by its true and beautiful name, a labor of love. There is a particular wound in doing hard, holy work that no one witnesses, and you carry that wound. The world hands out its applause to the visible things, the achievements, the platforms, the work done where people can see and praise it, and the most important work of all, the quiet keeping alive of another human being, goes on behind closed doors where no one will ever know. It can make you feel that your years are somehow lesser, smaller, that you are missing the real life happening out there while you are stuck in here doing the invisible thing. But God's economy runs exactly opposite to the world's. He has a tenderness, all through the scriptures, for the hidden things, the secret faithfulness, the right hand that does not let the left hand know what it is doing. He treasures most what is done where only He can see, precisely because it is done for love and not for applause. Your hidden labor is not a lesser life. In the accounting that lasts, it may be one of the greater ones. And the very hiddenness that feels like a curse is, to God, part of what makes it beautiful. And it is more than seen. There is something worth pausing on here. The God you serve is Himself a caregiver. He is not a distant master who only assigns the work. He is the one who feeds the ravens, who clothes the grass of the field, who gathers the lambs in his arms and carries them in his bosom, who counts the very hairs of your head and keeps your tears in his bottle. Tending the weak and the needy is not beneath him. It is the very heart of who he is. So when you bend over a helpless body in the dark, you are not doing some lowly thing far from God. You are doing the exact thing God spends his days doing, sustaining the frail, holding together what cannot hold itself. You are never more like him than in the unseen hours of your caring. And the one whose own nature is to care knows, from the inside, precisely what it costs. And he has not left the carer uncared for. Hear what Jesus said about the care given to the least able, the weakest, the ones who cannot give anything back. He said that whatever you do for the least of these, you do for him. Inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these, he said, ye have done it unto me. Sit with that until it changes how you see tomorrow. The spoon you lift to a mouth that cannot feed itself, you lift to Christ. The body you clean that cannot thank you, you tend as if it were his body. The endless, menial, unglamorous, unseen tasks of caring for someone who cannot care back are not a waste of your life on the sidelines of something more important. They are holy ground. They are, in the eyes of heaven, some of the most Christ-like work a human being can do, because they are done for someone who can offer nothing in return, which is exactly how God himself loves. You are not stuck doing something small. You are doing, in secret, the very thing Jesus said he would count as done to him. And there is a strange comfort hidden in that for the days when the one you care for cannot respond, cannot thank you, cannot even register that you are there. Because if your service were only worth something when it was appreciated, then caring for someone who has slipped beyond gratitude would feel utterly pointless, a kindness poured into a void. But Jesus moved the whole meaning of it. He said the care itself, given to the least, the weakest, the one who can give nothing back, is received by him directly, as if you had done it to his own body. So the love you pour out that seems to vanish, unnoticed, unreturned, into a person who cannot acknowledge it, does not vanish at all. It goes somewhere. It is received. It lands on Christ himself, who counts every bit of it as done to him, and who will one day say so, out loud, in front of everyone. The unthanked years are not wasted. They are gathered up, every one, by the only one whose thanks will finally matter. Now let me tell you about a man in the scriptures who hit the wall exactly the way you have, because his story will tell you something about how God treats the ones who have given everything and have nothing left. His name was Elijah, and he was a prophet, and he had just come through the greatest triumph of his life, a mountaintop victory where God moved in power through him in front of an entire nation. And then, right after the highest moment, he crashed. The threats came, the fear rose, and this mighty man of God ran for his life into the wilderness, sat down under a lone tree, and prayed to die. "It is enough," he said. "Now, O Lord, take away my life. I am no better than my fathers." Here was one of the strongest believers who ever lived, flat on the ground in the desert, completely spent, so depleted that death looked like relief. If you have ever lain awake and thought, "I cannot do this anymore, I have nothing left," then you have prayed Elijah's prayer, and you are in the company of one of God's own giants. Now watch what God did. because it is one of the most tender things in all of Scripture, and it is not at all what you would expect. He did not rebuke Elijah. He did not say, "Pull yourself together. Where is your faith? Look at all I just did through you." He did not pile guilt on a man who was already crushed. Instead, he let him sleep. An angel came and touched him gently and said only, "Arise and eat." And there by his head was bread, freshly baked, and a jar of water. Elijah ate and drank, and lay back down, and slept again. And the angel came a second time, and touched him again, and said, "Arise and eat, because the journey is too great for thee." Because the journey is too great for thee. God looked at his exhausted servant, and his first concern was not Elijah's performance, it was Elijah's body. Sleep, food, rest, more sleep, more food, gentle touch. Only after the man was fed and rested did God speak with him, and even then he came not in a great wind, not in an earthquake, not in fire, but in a still, small voice, a gentle whisper, the quietest thing in the world. For the man who was worn out by all the noise. And notice that God did not fix everything at once, did not snap Elijah back to full strength in a moment, did not demand that the rest be over after one meal. He let him sleep, and fed him, and let him sleep again, and fed him again. The restoring of a depleted person is not instant, and God did not treat it as though it should be. He was patient with the slowness of Elijah's recovery, gentle with the stages of it, unhurried. If you have been waiting to feel like yourself again, and it is taking far longer than you think it should, if you are frustrated with your own exhaustion, your own short temper, your own tears, then learn this from how God treated his prophet. Depletion this deep does not lift in a day, and the God who made you is not standing over your slow recovery with a stopwatch. He is patient with worn-out people. He feeds them a little at a time and lets them rest, and feeds them again, and does not rush the healing of a soul that has been pouring itself out for years. Be as patient with yourself as he is with you. Hear what that says to you. When you are depleted to the point of wanting it all to end, God's response to you is not a lecture. It is bread. It is rest. It is gently. The journey is too great for you to keep going without being cared for yourself. The God you serve does not despise your exhaustion or shame your limits. He built you with limits. He knows the journey you are on is too great to walk on empty, and he is not standing over you demanding you push harder. He is kneeling beside you with bread, saying, "First, rest. First, eat. First, let me care for the one who has been doing all the caring." Your need for rest is not a sin to repent of. It is a built-in part of being human that God himself honors and provides for. Let me pause for just a moment, because I know that many of you are listening to this in stolen minutes, in a quiet snatched between tasks, maybe in a hallway outside a room where someone is finally sleeping. If that is you, you can leave one word in the comments, just the word "here," so that this hidden labor of yours is witnessed somewhere, even by strangers, even anonymously. And so you know there are so many others awake in the same dark, doing the same unseen work tonight. You are not as alone as it feels. Now let me tell you about a woman Jesus loved, who was doing exactly what you are doing. Her name was Martha, and she was the one who served. When Jesus came to her home, Her sister Mary sat down at his feet to listen, but Martha was, in the words of the scripture, cumbered about much serving, bustling and working and preparing, doing all the labor of hosting while her sister sat. And Martha got to the end of herself, the way you do, and she came to Jesus. And there is a raw honesty in what she said that every caregiver will recognize. "Lord," she said, "dost thou not care that my sister hath left me to serve alone? Do you not care that I am doing this by myself?" It is the cry of the one who serves while others sit, the one who carries the load alone and wonders if anyone, even God, notices or cares. And listen to how gently Jesus answered her, because it is not at all a rebuke. He said her name twice, the way you say the name of someone you love when you want them to really hear you. "Martha, Martha." He said, "Thou art careful and troubled about many things." He saw her. He saw the worry, the burden, the troubled and anxious heart underneath all the busyness, and he named it tenderly. And then he said something she needed more than she knew. "But one thing is needful," he said, "and Mary hath chosen that good part." He was not scolding her serving. Serving was her gift, and he loved her for it. He was inviting her, gently, to do the one thing she had stopped doing in all her exhausted labor, to also come and sit, and receive, and be filled by him, instead of running herself empty, trying to give what she no longer had. Because here is the thing no caregiver can afford to forget. You cannot pour from a cup that is empty. The serving is good, but it has to come from a place of being filled, or it curdles into the very resentment and despair that is eating you alive. Even you, the one who does everything for everyone, are invited to stop and sit and let Jesus care for you. That is not laziness. That is the one thing needful. That is the only way the serving survives. And do not miss the tenderness in the fact that he answered her complaint at all. Martha came to him almost accusing, "Dost thou not care?" And he did not bristle at it, did not tell her she had no right to feel that way. He received the raw, tired honesty of it and answered it with love. So you can bring him yours. You can come to God with the exact words Martha used. "Do you not care that I am doing this alone?" And you will not be met with a rebuke for your honesty. He would rather have your honest exhaustion than your polished pretending. The caregiver who says to God, "I am drowning. I am doing this by myself. Do you even see me?" is not being faithless. She is being honest, like Martha. And honesty is the doorway through which God's comfort actually comes. He cannot fill a cup you are pretending is already full. Tell him the truth of how empty you are. That telling is itself the beginning of being filled. And let me tell you about an ordinary man who lived not long ago, who walked this exact road, because his story holds something for you. His name was Robertson McQuilkin, and he was the president of a college, a respected man with a full and public life, when his wife Muriel began to change. She was still young, in her 50s, when the forgetting started. Small at first, a story told twice, and then more. And then the slow, cruel unraveling of a mind to the disease that takes the person while leaving the body behind. For years he carried both his work and her growing needs, until the day came when she needed him fully, all the time. And he had to choose. And he chose her. He stepped down from the job he had given his life to, the position, the platform, the calling everyone admired. And he said something simple and staggering. He said that many people could do his job, perhaps better than he could. But no one could care for Muriel the way he could. He had made her a promise long ago, in sickness and in health, and he intended to keep it. And here is what I most want you to hear about his story, because it would be easy to turn him into a plaster saint and make you feel worse. It was hard. He did not pretend otherwise. It went on for years and years. She reached the point where she no longer knew who he was, where the wife who had loved him looked at him without recognition. And still he stayed, and fed her, and bathed her, and loved her. He wrote honestly about the strain of it, the cost, the long, unglamorous grind of it. He was not a man without exhaustion. He was a man who kept going through the exhaustion, leaning hard on God, because he had come to see that love is not only a feeling, but a thing you do, a verb, an action you keep choosing on the days the feeling cannot be found. He once reflected that his wife had spent her whole life pouring herself out for him, and now it was simply his turn, his honor, to pour himself out for her. He did not call it a burden he was trapped in. He came to call it a privilege he was given, but he never once pretended it was easy. And that honesty is the gift of his story, because it tells you the truth. This is holy, and this is hard, and both of those are true at once. And you do not have to feel only the holy to be doing it right. And here is something else worth knowing about even him. He did not do it on raw willpower, and he did not do it entirely alone. He leaned on God daily, desperately, the way you have to when the road is that long. He let others come around them. He was honest about his own need for strength outside himself, because no one, however devoted, can manufacture years of this out of their own reserves. So if you have been comparing yourself to some image of the perfect, tireless, ever-patient caregiver and finding yourself falling short, lay that image down, because it does not exist, and it never did. The people who go the distance in caregiving are not the ones who never get tired or never need help. They are the ones who learn to draw their strength from God a day at a time, and who let other people hold them up, and who keep choosing love through the exhaustion, rather than pretending the exhaustion is not there. That you can do, not perfectly, not without tears, but a day at a time, leaning hard on the one who has strength to spare. You can do this, the same ordinary, holy, difficult way he did. And there is one more thing in his story worth carrying with you. He came to see his wife's earlier love for him in a new light through all of it. For all the years of their marriage, she had poured herself out for him quietly, in 1,000 unnoticed ways. The daily acts of love that hold a life together and that no one ever applauds. And now, in caring for her, he was simply returning what she had given, completing a circle of love that had been flowing for decades. That reframed the whole thing for him. The caregiving was not a cruel interruption of love. It was love's fullest chapter, the place where all the years of receiving finally got to be repaid. You may not be able to see your own situation that way every day, and that is all right, but there is truth in it for you too. The care you are giving is not separate from love. It is love, in its most costly and concentrated form. The kind that keeps the vow when the feeling is hard to find. The kind that shows up at 3 a.m, the kind God Himself has for you. You are not doing something other than loving. You are loving, more deeply than most people ever learn how. So let me speak now to the lies that the exhaustion has been telling you. because some of them are crushing you under a weight God never meant you to carry. It tells you that because you feel resentment, because you have had the dark thoughts, you must not really love them, or you must be a bad person. That is a lie. Resentment is not the opposite of love. It is the exhaustion of love. Love that has been poured out past the point of replenishment. The two live side by side in every long caregiver's heart, the deep love and the bone-tired resentment. And the presence of the one does not cancel the other. God is not shocked by the dark flicker that crosses your mind in the worst hour. He knows the frame you are made of. He remembers that you are dust. He does not condemn you for being depleted. He meets you in it, with bread, the way he met Elijah. Bring him the ugly thoughts, the resentment, the guilt, all of it, and let him do with them what he does with everything you hand him honestly. Meet them with mercy instead of the judgment you are heaping on yourself. And understand where the resentment actually comes from, because it will help you stop hating yourself for it. Resentment grows in the gap between what is being asked of you and what you have left to give. It is not a sign that you are selfish or cruel. It is a sign that you have been giving past empty for too long, that the well has been drawn down below the waterline, and that something in you is signaling, the only way it knows how, that you are running on fumes. The answer to it is not to grit your teeth and squeeze out more, which only deepens the resentment, but to get the well refilled by God, by rest, by help, by the things we will talk about. Treat the resentment not as a moral failure to be ashamed of, but as a warning light on the dashboard, telling you something true about your own depletion that you need to listen to. The guilt says, "What a terrible person." The truth says, "What an exhausted person who needs to be cared for too." Believe the truth. It tells you that resting, or asking for help, or taking a break is selfish, is failure, is letting them down. This may be the most dangerous lie of all, because it is the one that will destroy you. Hear this clearly. Even Jesus withdrew to rest. Even Jesus, with the whole world's need pressing on him, got into a boat and went to a quiet place, and told his worn-out followers, "Come ye yourselves apart, and rest a while." Even Elijah was made to sleep before he was asked to do one more thing. Rest is not the opposite of faithfulness. It is part of how faithfulness survives. And needing help is not a moral failure. It is the truth of being a limited human being doing a job that was never meant to be carried by one person alone. There is no medal for collapsing. There is no extra holiness in refusing every hand that reaches out to help you. Letting others share this load is not weakness. It is wisdom, and it may be the only way you last. Think about it the way you would think about anyone else but yourself. If a friend were doing what you were doing, running on no sleep, never taking a break, neglecting their own health, heading straight for collapse, you would not praise them for it. You would beg them to rest. You would tell them, gently and firmly, that they cannot keep this up, that they are no good to anyone broken, that taking care of themselves is not optional. You would never demand of a friend the brutal, self-erasing standard you demand of yourself. So turn that mercy inward. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to that friend. The voice telling you that rest is selfish is not the voice of God. God is the one bending over you with bread, telling you to sleep. It is some harsher voice, and you do not have to obey it. Resting is not stealing from the person you care for. A rested caregiver gives better care than a shattered one. So your rest is, in the end, part of their care too. You are allowed to lay it down. You are allowed to close your eyes. The world and they will be held by God for the few hours you are not holding them. It tells you that God is disappointed in you, that a stronger Christian would not be this tired or this resentful or this empty, that your struggle is a sign of weak faith. But that is precisely backwards. The most faithful people in the scriptures were the ones who came to the end of themselves, who admitted they could not go on, who cried out that it was too much. Elijah, Moses, David, Jeremiah, even Jesus in the garden, sweating and sorrowful unto death, asking if the cup could pass. Reaching the end of your own strength is not a failure of faith. It is the very place where faith is born, because it is where you finally stop relying on yourself and lean on God instead. God is not disappointed by your weakness. His strength is made perfect in weakness. Your emptiness is not an embarrassment to Him, but the exact place He loves to pour Himself in. The tired, depleted, barely holding on caregiver is not a second-class believer. She may be closer to the heart of God than she has ever been, because she has run out of everything except Him. It tells you that you have to do this alone, and do it perfectly, and that any crack in you is a betrayal of them. But you were never meant to carry this alone. Even Moses, leading a whole nation, broke under the weight of trying to do it all himself, until a wiser man told him plainly, "You are not able to perform it alone. You will surely wear yourself away." Bear one another's burdens, the scripture says, and so fulfill the law of Christ. That command is not only for you to carry others, it is permission for others to carry you. You are allowed to be one of the burdened ones who needs bearing. Let the family members step in, even imperfectly. Let the church bring the meal. Let the professional take a shift. Let someone sit with your loved one while you sleep, or weep, or simply walk outside and feel the sun. You do not have to be the only one. You are never supposed to be. It tells you that you have lost yourself for good, that the person you used to be is gone, swallowed up in this role, and will never come back. And the fear feels real because you have given up so much, set down so many pieces of who you were. But you have not been erased. You have been hidden. The way a field lies hidden and bare under winter, not dead, only waiting. The person you are is still in there, underneath the exhaustion and the endless tasks, and the God who knows you, the real you, has not lost track of that person for a single day. This season is not your whole story, even when it swallows whole years. There will be a time, in this life or the next, when you are more than a caregiver again, when the dreams you shelved can be taken back down, when you rediscover the parts of yourself that this season required you to set aside. They are not gone. They are kept. And in the meantime, even now, in the very thick of the caring, the truest thing about you is not that you have disappeared, but that you are doing one of the most Christ-like things a human being can do, which is not the erasing of who you are, it is the fullest expression of it. And let me say the honest, hard thing, the way a true friend would. Sometimes this does not get better. Sometimes the road only goes one direction, and the person you love will not recover, and the caregiving will end only one way, and no amount of faith changes that. I will not promise you a healing I cannot promise, because hollow promises are not comfort. But hear this, even when the outcome will not change, you are not alone in it, and it is not meaningless. And the God who cannot heal them on this side of heaven is still with you in every hour of it, holding you while you hold them. And if you are the one breaking now, if your own body is failing under this, if you have reached the genuine end of what one person can do, then hear this too. Getting more help, even moving your loved one into a place where others can carry the physical care, is not abandonment, and it is not failure of love. Sometimes the most loving thing, for them and for you, is to admit that the care has grown beyond what you alone can give, and to let others help carry it, so that you can still be the daughter, the husband, the son, the wife, instead of collapsing entirely. You matter too. Your life matters too. You are not a machine for someone else's needs. You are a person God loves, and your well-being is not optional. And let yourself grieve along the way, because you are grieving, even though no one has died yet. There is a name for what you are carrying, the sorrow of watching someone fade while still caring for them, and naming it can help. It is grief, real grief. The same grief others are permitted to feel all at once at a graveside, except that yours is stretched out over years. A little loss every day, with no funeral and no casseroles, and no one saying, "Take all the time you need." You are allowed to mourn the person who is slipping away, even while you tend the person still here. You are allowed to miss them while they are in the next room. That doubled state, caring and grieving at the same time for the same person, is one of the heaviest things a human heart is ever asked to hold. And if it is wearing you down, that is not weakness. That is the sheer weight of a love that is doing two of the hardest things at once. Be gentle with a heart carrying that much. God is... And I have to say one more thing, gently, to anyone who needs it. If the weight has grown so heavy that part of you has begun to wonder whether you can go on at all, whether everyone might be better off without you, whether you simply cannot do this for one more day, then please hear me, because this matters more than anything else I will say. Caregivers reach that edge more often than anyone admits, and that despair is lying to you about your worth and about whether there is help. You do not have to carry this for one more night alone. Reach out today to a friend, a pastor, a doctor, a caregiver support line in your country. Tell someone the truth about how empty you are. Your life is precious, far beyond your usefulness to anyone, and the world needs you in it. And there are people and resources that exist for exactly this breaking point. Reaching for them is not weakness. It is the bravest and most faithful thing a worn-out soul can do. So what do you do when you are the one who cares for everyone else and there is nothing left of you? Not a formula, just a few honest things. Cast the burden where it was always meant to go. The scripture says, "Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee." Not carry it more bravely, cast it, hand it over. Every morning, before the day's weight lands on you, give it to God, the whole impossible load of it, and ask Him to be the strength you do not have. Because the promise is not that He will make the burden disappear, but that He will sustain you under it, hold you up, give you what the day requires as the day requires it. You are not the one ultimately holding this together. He is. Lean your whole weight on the one who can actually bear it. And notice that casting your burden is not a one-time event, but a daily, almost hourly practice. You will hand it over in the morning, and by noon you will have quietly picked the whole thing back up again. The worry, the weight, the sense that it all depends on you. And you will have to hand it over once more. That is not failure. That is simply how it works. The burden has a way of creeping back onto shoulders that have carried it so long they hardly know how to put it down. So you cast it again and again, as many times a day as you take it back. A steady, repeated letting go. Lord, this is yours, not mine. Lord, I cannot carry this, but you can. Lord, here it is again. There is no shame in having to do it 100 times a day. The point is not to cast it perfectly once. The point is to keep returning to the one who can hold what you cannot, over and over, until leaning on him becomes the deepest reflex you have. Sit at his feet before you serve, like Mary, even for 5 minutes. The one thing needful is not one more task. It is the receiving that refills the cup you pour from. Before the day's labor, or in a snatched quiet in the middle of it, come to Jesus not as the worker, but as the worn-out child, and let him pour something back into you. A few honest words, a psalm, a moment of just being held by him instead of holding everyone else. It will feel like the thing you have no time for, and it is the thing that makes all the rest possible. And do not imagine this has to look like some long, undisturbed quiet time you will never get. God meets caregivers in the cracks. A whispered prayer while you wait for the kettle. A single verse taped to the mirror that your eyes fall on as you pass. A few words said in your heart while your hands are busy with a task. Lord, help me. Lord, fill me. Lord, this one is yours. The disciples did not always get the mountaintop. Sometimes they got a sentence from Jesus in the middle of the crowd and the chaos. Your communion with God will probably not look like the unhurried hour you picture and grieve not having. It will look like 100 small turnings of your heart toward Him through a fractured day. And those count, every one of them. He is not waiting for you to produce a perfect devotional life before He will fill you. He is ready to pour into you in the snatched and broken moments that are all you have. If you will just keep turning toward Him in them, let Him feed you, like Elijah, and do not feel guilty about it. Eat, sleep when you can, even imperfectly. Tend your own body, which is not a betrayal of theirs. A caregiver who collapses cannot give care, so caring for yourself is not stealing from them. It is protecting the very thing they depend on. Take the nap, take the walk, take the help that lets you take the walk. God built rest into the rhythm of the world and into the body of His own exhausted prophet, and He builds it for you too. And forgive yourself daily for not doing this perfectly, because you will not do this perfectly, and no one ever has. You will snap when you meant to be gentle. You will feel the resentment you wish you did not feel. You will have the days you cannot rise to, the moments you are not proud of, the times you fail the standard in your head. Hand those to God each evening, the way you would hand Him any other sin or shortcoming, and receive the forgiveness He gives freely. And then, crucially, forgive yourself. Because holding yourself to a standard of flawless patience that no exhausted human could meet is not holiness. It is cruelty, and it will crush you. You are doing a hard thing imperfectly, which is the only way any hard thing has ever been done by any human being who ever lived. Let the failures be forgiven, His way, and then yours. And get up in the morning and do the next imperfect, faithful thing, which is all God ever asked of you. accept the help, and ask for it out loud. Most people do not help because they do not know how, not because they do not care. Tell them. Let someone bring a meal, sit a shift, run an errand, give you an afternoon. Build whatever team you can, family, friends, church, professionals, and let the load be shared, because it was always meant to be carried by more than one pair of hands. Bearing one another's burdens is the law of Christ, and you are allowed to be the one whose burden gets borne. And be specific when you ask, because vague offers go nowhere. When someone says, "Let me know if you need anything," they usually mean it, but they do not know what you need, and you are too tired to figure it out in the moment, so nothing happens. Instead, have an answer ready. Could you sit with Mom on Tuesday afternoon so I can go to my own doctor? Could you bring a meal on Thursday? Could you pick up the prescription? Could you just call me sometimes so I have an adult to talk to? People want to help. They're waiting to be told how. Give them a real, small, concrete thing and let them do it. And let it bless you without guilt. And if there is money for it, or help available through programs in your area, do not be too proud or too overwhelmed to use respite care, the hours where a trained person takes over so you can rest. That is not failure. That is exactly the kind of help that keeps a caregiver standing, and using it is wisdom, not weakness. And guard one small thing that is just yours, and do not let it go. It does not have to be much, because much is not available to you right now. But a person needs one thing in their life that is theirs, that feeds their own soul, that reminds them they are still a person and not only a function. A few minutes with a cup of coffee before the house wakes, a walk around the block, a phone call with the one friend who still understands, a few pages of a book, a hymn, a patch of garden, a hot bath with the door closed. Something small and yours and regular. A tiny flame you refuse to let the caregiving snuff out entirely. It will feel indulgent, and it is not. It is survival. The hardest workers in the world still need one small window that belongs to them. And protecting that window is not selfishness. It is the discipline of staying human through a season that would, if you let it, consume every last scrap of you. Keep one thing. Defend it gently. It is part of how you last. And do not grow weary in the doing of good, even when the harvest is nowhere in sight. The Scripture makes a promise to the weary servant. Let us not be weary in well-doing. For in due season we shall reap, if we faint not. In due season, not today, maybe, and maybe not on this side of heaven, but there is a harvest coming for the labor of love that feels so fruitless now, and not 1 ounce of what you have poured out is lost. Hold on to that promise on the days that feel most futile. The days the one you care for only declines, where nothing seems to make any lasting difference, where it feels like pouring water into sand. The promise still stands. In due season we shall reap, if we faint not. Maybe not a harvest you can see now, maybe not one on this side of heaven at all, but a real one, stored up, certain, coming. And the love that seems to disappear is being gathered into it. Nothing is wasted, however barren the field looks from inside the labor. Your job is only this: do not faint. Keep going, one small faithful act at a time, and leave the reaping to the God who has never once failed to bring in a harvest from seed sown in faith. Do the next small task, the next feeding, the next changing, the next gentle answer, as unto the Lord. and let Him keep the books, because He is keeping them, and He forgets nothing. This is how you survive a task that never ends. You stop trying to carry the whole endless thing at once, and you carry only the next small piece of it. You cannot do tomorrow's caregiving today, or next month's, or the caregiving of a year you cannot yet see. You can only do the next thing, the one in front of you right now, and then the one after that. When the sheer size of it threatens to bury you, shrink your gaze down to the single task at hand and do that one thing with love, as if Jesus Himself were receiving it, which He is. Then do the next one. A long, hard road is not walked by staring at the whole length of it until your legs give out. It is walked one step at a time, and each step, offered to God, is its own small, completed act of love, whole and finished and counted, even if the road goes on. You are not responsible for the whole journey at once. You are responsible for the next step, and grace will be there for that one, and then it will be there for the one after. Let me leave you with this, and then I will let you go back to that quiet house. There is a picture in the story of Elijah that I want you to fall asleep holding tonight. A man at the absolute end of himself, too tired to go on, lying in the dirt under a tree, asking only to be released from it all. And his God did not wake him with demands. His God let him sleep, and while he slept, prepared bread and set it by his head, and waited, and woke him only to feed him, and let him sleep again, and fed him again, because the journey was too great for him to walk unfed. That is the God who is bending over you tonight, in the exhaustion you cannot put into words, not standing over you with a list, bending over you with bread, caring for the one who does all the caring, carrying, in the dark where no one sees, the one whose arms are full of carrying everyone else. You spend your days being strong for someone who cannot be strong. Tonight, let yourself be the weak one for a while, held in arms stronger than yours. You spend your life seeing to everyone else's needs. Let the one who sees in secret see to yours. The labor you think no one notices is written, every line of it, in the books of heaven, under the heading, Love, and not one page of it will be forgotten. And the same God who fed his worn-out prophet under the tree, who said your name the way he said Martha's, twice and tenderly, who counts the cup of water given to the least as given to himself, is here in the night with you, whispering not in the wind or the fire, but in the smallest, quietest voice, the one you can only hear when everything else goes still. Rest now. I see you. I have not forgotten. The journey is too great for you to walk alone, and you are not walking it alone. Lay it down, just for tonight. Let me carry the one who carries everyone. And in the morning, there will be bread. You have been the strong arms for so long that you may have forgotten there are stronger arms than yours, and that they are underneath you, and have been all along. Even on the nights it felt like you were holding everything up by yourself. You were not. The weight you have carried inside the carrying of God. The way a child who thinks she is holding the whole load is actually being held, load and all, by a parent she cannot see. Set it down into those arms tonight. Not forever, just for tonight. Sleep the sleep of someone who is, at last, not the only one awake in the universe keeping watch. because you never were. The one who neither slumbers nor sleeps is keeping watch over you and over the one you love, and he will still be keeping it when you wake. And let me say one last true thing into the dark, the thing the tired voice will never tell you. Your worth to God is not your usefulness. It is not how much you do, or how well, or how long you can keep going before you break. He does not love you more on the days you manage everything, and less on the days you fall apart. You are not loved for what you give. You are loved because you are His. Settled before you ever lifted a finger for anyone. And it cannot be lowered by your exhaustion or your failures or the days you have nothing left. You have spent so long being valued for what you do that you may have forgotten you are treasured simply for being you. The worn-out, faithful you, apart from every task. Let that be the last thought you carry into sleep. You are loved, not for the caring, but underneath all of it, simply and completely, as you are. So close your eyes, weary one. The bread is baking, the watch is kept, and you, who carry everyone, are carried tonight.